Welcome to Craft Shop, Brad here. Today I'm going to be making a very simple and somewhat modern computer desk or table or whatever you want to use it for. I'm going to be using construction lumber and rebar, so it's going to be a very cheap and affordable project. Stay tuned. Alright, so I am using 4 2x8s for this project. I don't need the full length, so I'm just cutting them to size somewhere around 5 feet. Alright, now they're all cut to size. Next step is to rip them down on the table saw. I just want to get rid of the rounded corners. Alright, now that my edges are clean, I am switching to a dado stack. My goal is to connect these boards using tongue and groove jointing. Alright, with the scrap piece, I go ahead and cut a test groove. I'm running one more test, just to make sure I'm nice and center. And that looks pretty good to me. That's a good width. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with the project. I start by sketching a quick pattern onto the end grain, just so that I don't make any bad cuts. And now I am making my first groove pass. And now I am flipping it around and running the same pass. This guarantees that your groove is perfectly centered to the edge of your board. I continue on by cutting the rest of my grooves. Now that my grooves are cut, I am setting up my fence for the tongue cuts. And I'm using a grooved piece to set the measurement. Once it's lined up, I go ahead and start cutting a tongue on another scrap piece. I cut one side and then I flip it around and I finish it off on the other side. Alright, and time for a quick test fit to make sure this works before I move forward. And it's a very tight fit, and it lines up pretty well on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to cutting the tongues. I don't have a whole lot of experience doing tongue and grooves. I don't know the best technique for creating them. I just figured the dado blade would be pretty easy to use for this project. Alright, all my pieces are cut. Time to push them together and see if they all fit. Like a glove. I'm happy with the fit. I'm gonna go ahead and get it glued up. I don't have a dedicated assembly table. I'm just throwing down some plastic so I don't get glue all over my outfeed. And I am using Type Bond Ultimate 3 wood glue. Alright, now I'm clicking them all together, and I'm not worrying too much about getting the edges completely flushed up because I am going to be cutting a chamfer on both ends of the surface. Time for the pressure. I'm throwing some clamps on now. And you can see those joints are nice and tight. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave that overnight and resume in the morning. Looks like the glue up was a success. I'm gonna go ahead and take off some of this excess glue with a cheap hand plane. Now on to sanding. I'm just using my random orbit sander for this. Once it's all sanded up, I am ready to go ahead and start cutting my chamfers on the ends of the desk. I'm cutting about a 30-degree angle with my circular saw. And in order to keep it nice and straight, I am clamping a piece of wood on to use as a fence. Alright, I got both sides cut up and they're looking very nice. Now I go ahead and sand, and right now I'm working on the bottom of the desk. Looking pretty good, and there's the top, nice and smoothed out. Time to finish up this surface. The only thing I'm putting on here is a Minwax paste finishing wax. This is a nice way to finish the wood, and once this is applied, it's got a little bit of a shiny finish, especially when you buff it in, but eventually it dulls down to a bit of a matte finish, which I'm really going for this project. I think it will match the table legs very well. Alright, and I am just buffing this in with a paper towel. And you can see when this is applied really heavily, it does darken the wood up a bit, but this will dull out a little bit after a day of sitting. Alright, here it is the next day. You can see that color did dull down a bit. And now that pine will keep its natural look without yellowing up too much. I'm just buffing up the top a little bit to get rid of the waxy feel. And now I am ready to move on to the legs. I did post a video on how to make these legs right before I posted this video, so check it out. I'm gonna have it linked at the end of the video. And I'm just using a square to help line up my brackets. And once I've got my marks made for the holes, I'm gonna go ahead and drill them. And now I'm gonna go ahead and throw some screws in. All right, continuing on with the rest of the legs. Want to help me grab this? Then you flip it down.
And there's the final piece. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I think the matte paint on those hairpin legs looks really well against the matte finish on that wood.
Thank you so much for watching. That was a very fun and pretty interesting project. I don't really get the chance to use construction lumber that often for modern pieces, so I'm really happy with the way this one came out. It probably cost me about $40 or something with the rebar and the construction lumber. The rebar was only like $4 a piece, and I got a bunch of 10-foot sections, so it was really affordable. I'm so happy to finally have a good computer desk to edit videos on. I've been using my laptop lately, and every time I edit a video, I'm either hunched over in bed or sitting on a couch and just hunched, and my back hurts. So now I can actually sit and have good posture, and I think I'm gonna be a lot more productive at a good desk. This will be the first video that I am editing on my new desk, so I don't think you will notice a difference, but my back definitely will. I recommend you guys give this a try. This is a very fun project, super easy, super cheap. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.